Hi everyone, it's me Joe, and today I'm giving you an updated everyday makeup routine. It's not going to be a full-on tutorial, it's more like how I can finally, now we've got the lights right, show you the difference between the makeup I do now and the details in the base and everything compared to what I did before. Please excuse if my French goes crazy. If you've ever seen Hercules and you see those witches try and snip him, what's the matter with these scissors? Was very much me in the mirror before we started this, so forgive me, but thought I'd do a cute look today because I've not had bangs in 5 years, and why the hell not? Let's change it up. Going into details about my makeup now versus then is kind of a philosophy behind it, and it's not going to get too in detail about this. I'm going to give you some of my inspirations and the differences. The main thing I wanted to do with my makeup before was correct my broken nose. So when I was younger, I used to see my broken nose and think all of this side of my face was wonky because of it. And it just is ridiculous because I wish someone would have told me at the time, or looking back, I wish I could have told my younger self, you're gorge. Focus on the things about you that make you a better person. Don't, it makes me feel silly that I took it that seriously when I was younger. But you grow up, don't you? It is what it is. But my makeup was definitely designed to make my nose look straight. Now, I researched the supermodels, and I found out the biggest kind of makeup artists for making the supermodels look like the supermodels were people like Way Bandy, who's more 70s and was an assistant to Richard Avedon, with who was the hair guy? Aaron Gala? Have I got the name wrong? Let me know. That was one of my biggest inspirations ever. He was just such a genius makeup artist and was so influential to me because of the way he contoured the face. And then Kevin Aucoin came in the 90s, and he started to build on that kind of technique, and he references Way Bandy as one of his biggest inspirations, and so on and so on. And then Matthew Anderson obviously is one of my biggest inspirations. He again is someone, to be honest, with Matthew and Zaldi, it was more like they gave me the courage to be myself from their example rather than I studied his makeup, because I didn't know much about his makeup work until I grew up and then researched him. I just had vision boards of all the colourful costumes and everything that I found on GeoCities blogs back in the day, which was a Yahoo blog thing that used to be online. But anyway, it's long stories. There were two really big things for me that were very influential. One was actually a designer of dolls. Now, if you guys know anything about dolls, when I was on MySpace and I was skinny and super pale, there was a lot of people that made dolls of me, which is very strange. I'll pop some on the screen maybe now. But back in the day, there were gorgeous dolls, and this man had painted all these dolls to look like the celebrities, and the faces didn't change. There wasn't a difference in the structure. It was the way he painted them. He could really change the proportions of the face. So it blew my mind, and I started studying him from like 16 onwards and seeing how he would step by step make the eyes long or change the proportions, and it would switch up the whole face. So Noel Cruz is one of the biggest inspirations, and I don't really talk about it enough on my channel because that's one of the reasons I wanted to do transformations on this channel. It was partly through his example. Next on my list is a weird one, but it kind of is obvious if you know anything about me. I'm an avid gamer, and my mum always jokes, if you didn't play Final Fantasy, you'd probably never come out like this, which is kind of a joke, obviously, but it's true. Because I did like these androgynous kind of people, because they were the closest things that I kind of look like. So I loved playing video games, and one of the video games I fell in love with was The Sims. And not because I like playing The Sims, I like building the houses and I like building the faces. And I think when The Sims 2 came out, they introduced that Sims mod thingamajig where you can make the characters look more human. And when I saw the texture packs, and it's like there's a 3D model and then there's like a skin for it, I was blown away, because the flat texture taught you how to make the face look different. It was the weirdest thing, and it was the most insightful thing for me to learn from, because you could see as a flat image how one would contour the nose, because they would apply that to the 3D model and the 3D model would look completely different. So that was another really big inspiration for me when I first started. Going through the features really quickly, and the main differences for me are things like I don't contour my nose as severely, and I do it more for effect than I do it to make my nose look different. My nose is now in the middle of my face, and thank God to Narushka at Botonics. and you can see the videos of me actually getting my nose fixed on this channel, and it just was a blessing. It was such a relief for me because it changed my whole entire face. I also got my eyelids lifted, and that made a big difference to me because I stopped gluing my eyelids. I used to have monolids, and now you can see my creases. And I also have stopped wearing this heavy makeup. So there are things in my makeup that's kind of dimmed down and I've kind of lessened, but the main gigantic differences are now I wear much more smart powder techniques. I apply powders for the effect of flash photography, because I think it's really important to have makeup for real life but also makeup for a flash, and they both have to look good. So translucent powders that flash back used strategically are really important. Watch my baking tutorial in detail to figure out which ways I map the face out, but that's pretty much it. I don't build a socket with eyeshadow anymore. I keep it kind of neutral. My eyebrows are real now. I don't draw them on because they've always been super high on my face, but I never felt they looked right for me because I had quite a severe arch in them. So I've taken the corner of the arch off and made it more curvy, which maps out with the face much more harmoniously. If you think about faces like a set of lines, the lines in my face are quite round, so having an angle to my brow really just doesn't fit, and things like that just makes your eye, it's like a holistic thing where you observe. And I've spoken about this before in my Boy to Girl detailed tutorials, and I've gone through the anatomy and stuff, but it's all about the golden ratio, and you've got this you've got a built-in understanding of what looks right and what looks a little bit out of place. It's all to do with the proportions and the lines. So as long as the lines all match up, for me, that's what makes a great face and a great makeup. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Just very quick, going through the basics, and I'm showing you a little bit of secret tips and tricks that I now do that are different from before. So if you haven't watched my old videos, check them out as well to get the comparison, and please enjoy. So let's start with the skin. Now, I've been building the collagen on my skin up so much this year with vitamin C serums. This is by the brand Diva, and it's ferulic acid, vitamin E and vitamin C, and I've been loving it. Now, the main difference, as I said, is my contour's always been the same. I've always used the same kind of cream techniques and set them in with colored powders, but I have now got into the whole craze of using highlight to reflect back in flash photography. So I use the tip of my nose with a little pinpoint on the end. I bring the cheeks into the brow ridging, and everything really comes together and I blend it through. This is not as immediately visible in everyday light, but when you hit the flash on your skin, it glows. Now I'm going to be using this Peach, which is a bronzer kind of hybrid by Vivo, really old school product, but it just seamlessly moves the highlight into the contour. In hindsight, it's very useful that I did this in black because you can really see the difference in lip shape compared to my old videos. This is OCC pencil, by the way, and instead of drawing my natural lip shape on, which I found made my face a little bit wonky as I mentioned, this is my new heart-shaped style of drawing on my lips, which is more curved in the bottom and a little bit taller in the middle. I'm just going to set this through with the Sojndra Deluxe Scarlet palette black eyeshadow. If I'm going to do a black lip, the only way to keep your black lip from smudging throughout the day is to set the outside with a wonderful eyeshadow. Now on the inside, there's actually a really bad gel eyeliner by Loreal, which I got sent when they sent me the whole range, and I use this as a liquid lipstick. Now the eye shapes, as I've always done, I always go under the eye because it stops the actual area under your eye from creasing. But instead of actually cutting the crease in and then blending it into my nose, I now elevate the outside and blend it through to the inner tear duct. So there's no real connection between the nose contour and the eye contour, which there always was in my old videos. This is more of a just natural contour. It's less of a socket and more of an edging to the eyeshadow. And as I've been saying, I'm now applying the same color, but it's actually a shimmer eyeshadow. This is by MAC, and I'll put the shade in the links below. And this is just a way of making the eyelid pop with a flash. And again, I'm using that pure Mica pigment to actually hit the tear duct. So everything changes with a flash, which is the main difference. Now, I'm using Wonder Mascara, even though they did steal my face for their eyebrow products and sell their products around the world. But compensation makes the world go round, so I can't be mad anymore. This is Uemura eyelash curler, and I always try and do a coat first, then a curl, and then a second coat to secure it. And I tend to do 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom because my lashes are pretty hench to begin with. Here's the main difference, pretty much the same contour base, but the effect in flash photography is amazing. So I hope you guys liked it. Here is the finished look. I've just thrown on my fringe and a clip-in pony because I thought it's a cute look to swap things up. This is Versace, as you guys seen. I wore it in an FAQ before, and I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Don't forget to find me on Instagram, and I will see you all in my next video. But the main kind of thing I wanted to do with my makeup, just bang to the microphone.